let's talk about cutting boards and how important they are in your kitchen. I prefer these Booz cutting boards. They're my favorite, and I have gone through so many cutting boards and so many knives because of bad cutting boards. And it all starts with your knife. Your knives are so important, right? We invest a lot of money in them. We want a sharp blade. We always want to keep that blade sharp. When you have a cutting board that is super hard, what's it going to do to your knife? It's going to dull your knife. So you actually want to seek out a cutting board that is naturally soft, like these Booz wood boards. They're going to give a little bit when you go and you chop down, therefore saving your edge blade on your knife, and therefore your knife stays sharper longer. That's why cutting boards are so important. Plastic, granite, marble, never use your knives on them. They're just going to tear away the blade, and you're going to always have dull knives. And when you do have dull knives, you cut your fingers more. So you always want to have a sharp blade. Cutting boards, when you do have a wood cutting board, it's really important to maintain them. They will last for years, y'all, and you want to keep them in tip-top shape, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is you always, when you first buy your cutting board, always get the oil that they recommend and oil it. It's like a sealant, like a wax coating that's going to protect it. It's not wax, but this is edible food grade mineral that we're just going to put all over our board. And it's super easy. It's going to take like not even 2 minutes. I'm just taking paper towels and I'm going to gently rub all of this oil into my beautiful board. This is a really beautiful board, and I really want to take good care of it. And it's really going to take care of my knives, actually. So I'm just going to get that in. You're just going to rub it all in. It's going to soak up really fast. And I'm going to let that sit overnight or for a couple hours. And then I'll just go back in with a clean paper towel or regular towel and just wipe off any excess oil that didn't get absorbed. But that is basically how you season your cutting board, just like you would a cast iron pan. You always want to keep it in top shape, and this will help protect it. The mineral oil will also help it protect from any water that gets on the board. When you do deal with water or any liquid on your board, you do want to make sure that you remove that liquid from the wood board as quickly as you can. Granted, we're chopping, and if there's some liquid on your board, right when you're done chopping, wipe that liquid away, because wood and water don't mix. So always wipe away that water. Now, when you're cooking or cleaning, you always want to use a steel scraper or the edge of your knife to remove things from a wood board. So either when I'm chopping, I'm gonna gently scrape with my knife and remove my onion, so to speak. Or I like these bench scrapers. They scrape everything off the board really nicely. I'm not damaging my board at all. So these are two tools are gonna be wood board friendly, right? Another tip is when you're cutting, you never want to cut on your wood board in the same spot. So say I keep doing this for every onion that I chop. Well, I'm going to create this indentation just right here throughout my board. I want to make sure that all my cuts on my board are going evenly, so to speak. So say I chop my onion here, and I'm going to move it. My next onion I chop here and here. You want your cuts to be even across the board so that naturally the board is going to wear down, but we want it to wear down evenly. Thus you get even cuts, even knife cuts all the time. And my final tip for proper board care is never wash your board with harsh detergents. Just use a mild soap, and never get those steel scrubbers to your board. If something is stuck onto your board when you're washing, just take your bench scraper and scrape it off. Don't use the scrubby pads. Try not to use any harsh pad at all. Like a soft sponge is how I clean it off and just scrape off any gunk with my bench scraper, and I use like Dawn soap or something really, really mild, and then I get that water off and I make sure I fully dry my board before I store it. When you're storing your board, here's another thing too. I like to store my cutting boards upright like this. Why? Because and if there is any excess water, it will run right off, and I don't have to worry about storing it like this and having water sit on my board, which will damage it. So if I don't cook for a week and there was water on my board's gonna be damaged. And I've invested so much in this board, I wanna take care of it as much as I can. Y'all, I hope you enjoyed these tips on cutting boards, and I hope you learned a lot. Now get out there and go get a really nice cutting board for your kitchen.